A letter is sent from Tenshi in the country where the sun rises to Tenshi in the country where the sun sets. How are you? In 605 AD, an envoy from Japan arrived at Emperor Yang of Sui. Carrying Japan's great hopes, this envoy delivered a letter of intent to Emperor Yang of Sui. Emperor Yang of Sui considered this disrespectful and rejected it. However, this letter marks a major step forward for Japan's diplomacy. Hello everyone. This time I will explain about the Japanese missions to Sui, China. In other words, it is about the messenger sent to Sui. At this time, Japan sent envoys across the sea to Sui. This is a famous story, so many people probably know it. However, sailing at that time was much more dangerous than it is today. Why did Japan need to take such a risk and send envoys to Sui? Let us take a closer look at that. First, let's look at what the situation was like in East Asia at this time. China, which had been divided for a long time, was united by the Bunte. This is how the Sui Dynasty was founded. When the Sui Dynasty was established, Kokuryo and Baekje immediately began tribute to the Sui Dynasty. In other words, they sent tribute to the Sui Dynasty. In response, the Sui Dynasty established a tributary system, sending gifts to the rebels. In name only, they are in a relationship of master and vassal. Because Shilla was far from the Sui, they did not pay tribute immediately, but later they tribute. In other words, the Sui Dynasty and the countries of the chosen were nominally in a relationship of master and vassal. At that time, relations between Kokuryo and Sui deteriorated, and Shilla's power grew stronger. Feeling a sense of crisis, Kokuryo decided to strengthen its ties with Weikoku and compete with Sui and Shilla. Such was the situation outside Japan. Next, let's look at the domestic situation in Japan. At this time, Japan was in the Asuka period. The Emperor of Japan was during the reign of Empress Suiko. The one who assisted Empress Suiko was Prince Umayado, also known as Prince Shotoku. The Soga clan was also gaining power, and Sagano Umiko was involved in politics together with Prince Umayado. At this time in Japan, the Soga clan was beginning to monopolize politics. The Soga clan directed diplomacy with the chosen and organized people from there. In other words, the Soga clan had close ties with the people of the chosen. Prince Umayado planned to use Sui to oppose the Soga clan. Prince Umayado tried to oppose the Soga clan. There were other advantages to them in sending envoys to Sui. This meant that Weikoku was able to adopt advanced culture. The Sui Dynasty was a developed country at this time. Prince Umayado probably wanted to introduce the advanced culture from Sui to Weikoku. However, to get to Sui, they would have to cross the Sea of Japan. Naturally, navigation technology at that time was much lower than it is today. There is a possibility that the ship will be wrecked on the way to Sui and the envoys will die. Going to Sui was worth the risk. Weikoku came to be part of the international order centered on the Sui Dynasty. First, Weikoku sent an envoy without a sovereign letter. In this story, the king of the country of Wa is the older brother, and the younger brother is the son. The king sits cross-legged listening to politics before dawn. Once the sun rises, I'll leave the rest to my younger brother Tile. With that, he quit his political duties. When Bunte heard this, he apparently told the messenger that this was contradictory and sent him away. This story is recorded in the Sui Shu. It is also possible that the story was deliberately embellished to emphasize the superiority of the Sui Dynasty. The levels of Japan and the Sui Dynasty at that time were completely different. The first Japanese missions to Sui China ended in failure. Perhaps ashamed of this failure, no records of the first Japanese missions to Sui China remain in Japanese records. After that, Japan tried again by establishing the 12-level cap and rank system in the 17-article constitution. Japan sent its second Japanese missions to Sui China to Sui. At this time, after the death of Bunta, Emperor Yang of Sui became the second emperor of the Sui Dynasty. This is where Anono Omoko comes in. The following was written in the sovereign letter submitted by the envoy from Japan this time. A letter is sent from Tenshi in the country where the sun rises to Tenshi in the country where the sun sets. How are you? This is a famous passage. This means sending a letter from Tenchi in the country where the sun rises to Tenchi in the country where the sun sets. It means how are you? However, when Emperor Yang of Sui read this letter, he became furious. Emperor Yang of Sui said that it was an undignified letter and he never wanted to hear it again. The reason Emperor Yang of Sui became angry was the word Tenchi. From Emperor Yang of Sui's perspective, Tenchi is a being commanded by heaven to rule the entire world. Therefore, I am the only emperor in this world. However, Emperor Yang of Sui must have felt it was strange that a small and weak country like Weikoku was calling itself Tenchi, just like him. In reality, the difference between Sui and Weikoku was incomparable. It was no wonder that Emperor Yang of Sui was angry. If this were to happen, the second envoys might be turned back to Weikoku, just like the first time. Emperor Yang of Sui sends Haisei to Japan. This had to do with the international situation. Baekje was preparing to go to war with Kokoryu. The Sui Dynasty was also planning to fight against Kokoryu. Given this situation, the Sui Dynasty thought that making Weikoku their enemy would cause trouble. Emperor Yang of Sui sent Haisei to Weikoku. Envoys from Sui arrived at Hakata. Prince Umayato even went to the trouble of building a new mansion in Naniwa to welcome envoys from the Sui Dynasty. Of course, Anono Omoko was accompanying this messenger. Having completed her mission, Anono Omoko returns to Asuka to report. However, the report said, on the way back, the national letter was taken by the people of Baekje. I'm not sure if this is true or not. The response from Sui was not very positive. Therefore, there is a theory that Anono Omoko deliberately threw away the sovereign letter and made the excuse that it had been stolen by the people of Baekje. Anono Omoko failed in his mission. This failure almost led to Anono Omoko being exiled. If he is exiled, Sui will find out that the national letter has been lost. Thinking that it would be more dangerous, Anono Omoko avoided exile. However, an envoy from Sui, Haisei, also brought a letter of intent. The letter apparently expressed appreciation for the tribute received from Weikoku. Thus began exchanges between Weikoku and Sui. The people of Weikoku interacted with the Sui emperor on an equal footing. They come to think that the emperor of Japan is a great man. He used the authority of the Sui emperor to enhance Emperor of Japan's own authority. Anono Omoko is famous for his achievements as a member of the second Japanese missions to Sui China, but he also traveled to Sui after that. Anono Omoko accompanied Haisei when he was sent back to Sui. In addition, he also sent foreign students to Sui to study China's advanced culture. These people later returned to Weikoku and developed the country's culture. However, the Sui dynasty's politics fell into disarray and Emperor Yang of Sui was assassinated in 618. Thus the Sui dynasty fell and the Tang was established. What did you think of this video? The most famous case is about the second Japanese missions to Sui China. There are many interpretations of ancient stories, so please look into them. In the next video I will explain about the Ixi incident. See you in the next video.